Hey everybody, John here. Today we're doing a video to talk about best practices for our live chat feature in Pipedrive. So this is somewhat a crash course on what we need to do as soon as we start chatting with our customers. And this might seem obvious to some of you guys, but this is really a new skill that you need to develop. And there are things within chat that you got to be aware of and ways to get better at it. So I'm going to talk just real briefly today about what some of those basic skills are when you're chatting with customers on our website. So as you guys know, if you watched the last video, we now have the live chat feature available in Pipedrive. So if you need more information on how to access live chat, how that's all going to work, you'll want to watch that previous video. But this one's all about what do you do when you get that person on the chat, and what is the best way to convert that into a usable sales lead. So we're going to get started with that. So first and foremost, I want to cover why chat is important. So there's a few reasons why chat is important, but first reason is it's going to increase our leads in the Pipedrive pipeline. Obviously, we want every store to be at 3 times your sales goal as far as what your pipeline value is. And this is just one more way that we can get more leads into our pipeline. So that's going to be your most important aspect of why it's important. The second one is it's going to provide you access to untapped customer base. Research shows that up to 70% of consumers research their purchases online before they ever walk into a store. So what that means is the customers that are walking into your store have probably already shopped online somewhere. And not all of the people that are shopping on our website are ever coming into a store. So you may have otherwise never had an opportunity to talk to the customer that you're talking with through the chat feature of our website. So this is a very, very important feature because it allows you access to those customers who you might have never seen otherwise. And then the last thing is it really gives us an opportunity to capture customers during that research phase, turn them into actual sales leads without waiting for them to walk into a store because we don't know if they're. So those are a few reasons why we're doing this in the first place. So really important, real quick, just like with the phone, when you answer the phone, there's a particular way that we answer our phones. To appear as professional as possible. And chat etiquette is very, very important. So I just want to go over a few things that are just basic knowledge as far as chat goes. So what does good chat behavior look like? Well, first of all, you're going to have proper grammar, punctuation, spelling. All of that stuff is very, very critically important. So I want everybody to be very careful when they're typing out their messages. Double check them and proofread them for spelling errors and grammatical errors. You need to capitalize the beginning of your sentences, add periods, question marks. All that stuff is very, very important. Proper greetings. So I have read through some of the chat transcripts so far because I can see them as soon as they're finished. And a proper greeting is to introduce yourself, give your name. That's all very, very important. Some of the greetings that we have been doing are just a hello, and we're not even capitalizing the H. So we need to work on that. Always greet your customer properly. And that's going to sound like, hello, my name is Carrie. How can I assist you today? And actually, shout out to Carrie. Your greetings have been excellent. So next, you want to be professional and have personality. And I put these both in the same point because if we lean too far to the professional, you can sound a lot like a robot. And if you have too much personality, then you're not professional anymore. So we want to walk that line between showing our personality, but being professional all the way throughout. And that's very, very important. We'll cover that more later. And then last thing is undivided attention is very, very good chat behavior. Now, we want the appearance of undivided attention. What I mean by that is obviously you're sitting in a store, there's phones ringing, there's things going on around you. In some cases, we might even be doing multiple chats. So the appearance of undivided attention means that there is no lapse from the chatter's perspective. The person you're speaking with cannot tell that you're doing multiple things at once. This is going to be different for everybody. Some people are very good at multitasking. Other people are not. So you're going to have to assess your own capability here. And if you cannot appear to have undivided attention towards the person that you're chatting with, you may just want to focus on that one chat at a time. So let's keep those things in mind as we get these chats going. So these things would fall into the category of ungood. In other words, this stuff is bad. So we do not want to do these things. Short, incomplete sentences. So when you're talking to people through the chat, keep away from the one-word responses, just incomplete sentences in general, and short responses. They give the appearance of disinterest, so it makes you seem like you're really not all that into the chat, or that you're not really giving them undivided attention. So those very short responses that are distracted, that you're just kind of like in and out of the conversation, that comes across very, very quickly to the person that you're chatting with, so we want to avoid that. This is a big one. Abbreviations, text speak, and informal language. So to translate that, that's the, LOL, TTYL, all those things that you might abbreviate in normal life. When you're texting somebody, it's just not appropriate when you're chatting with somebody as a professional from our organization. So from that standpoint, we want to make sure that we are speaking in complete sentences, that we're not using unnecessary abbreviations for things. Lack of punctuation, another big one. So capitalize your letters, add your periods, add your question marks to things, commas where appropriate, and make sure that the formatting of everything you're putting out is top notch, because this is the only impression some of our customers will ever get of us is through this chat. And then this goes right hand in hand with undivided attention. So any long pauses or unresponsiveness is bad. Now, obviously, you're going to be researching things with customers. You may have to switch to another screen to find some specs on something or to answer a question that your customer had, which is okay. But you want to make sure that you're communicating with the person you're chatting with and letting them know that it'll be just a moment. I'm going to look for specs for that item. I'll be right back. So that they know that there's going to be a pause. And you want to make sure that those pauses are not too long. If you're gone more than 20 seconds, I would say check back with your person to let them know that you're still with them and you're still checking on that, and thank them for their patience. So these are very, very important things to keep in mind when you're chatting with customers. And now we're going to go over the main goals of chatting. So again, we talked about why it's important, but what are we trying to get out of this chat? So these are some very, very important things to remember. 5 main goals of internet chat. Number 1 is you want to capture lead information. The reason that we are chatting with this customer is to capture that information and turn it into a sale. Some of you are realizing this already, but as you start chatting, you get into conversation and pretty soon you're talking back and forth, and you can forget that the point is you got to capture their information. You're starting off with basically just a name of the person that you're chatting with. And over the course of that conversation, you need to get an email address, a phone number, the items that they're looking for. You need to estimate a value of the deal that you can all put in on that right-hand side of the screen. So this is important that you do all these things while you're talking to that customer. By the end of that conversation, you've got to have contact information for the customer, a phone number, an email address. All of those things are very, very important. All right, so number 2 is you want to make an amazing first impression on this customer. And the reason I put amazing is, again, this might be their only impression that they get of this company. So when you're talking to them, you just want to think, how can I make this person walk away from this with the best possible impression of the company so that they return to us and buy? Now, some of these people might just be researching, which is okay, but still, you have an opportunity to market and make good impression on this customer, because they may not be a customer today, but they might be next week or next month or even next year, or they might refer somebody to you. So these are all great reasons why you want to make amazing first impression of the customer, and some of the things that we talk about later will go into this. So the third goal of internet chat is customer convenience. We want to make a nice, convenient way for them to interact and interface with our company, get information that they're looking for, and have a positive experience. So number 3, make it convenient for the customer and really give them what they're looking for. If they are pricing, make sure they get the pricing, but also make sure that you're getting your goals at the same time, which is number 1, capture that lead information. All right, so that's 1, 2, and 3. Let's talk about 4. Number 4, capture the lead information. Now, I may have said this before, and this is not a typo, but the goal is to capture their information. I'm going to say this again. Goal number 5 is capture that information. All right. So by the end of this, if you've learned nothing else, it's that by the end of your conversation with chat, you must capture the lead information. There's no point to us talking to customers on our chat website if we do not get their information. So it's very, very important to do that. All right. So how do we capture lead information? Well, first and foremost, you have to introduce yourself to the customer. So I recently changed the settings so that you're going to be getting provided a name when the person starts chatting with you. The first thing you should do is introduce yourself to that customer, give them your name, and ask how you can help. So very, very important to introduce yourself first. Very shortly after that, I would ask for an email or phone number just in case you lose connection. And this is key because this is the first attempt to get that email or phone number. So asking for this early is important. A lot of customers will just give this up right up front, and that's fine. Go ahead and add that into the right-hand panel of the screen and record that email or record that phone number so that later on you may actually lose connection with the customer and you can get back to them with some information that they were looking for. You want to ask questions and don't just answer questions. It's very easy to fall into a trap where a customer comes in hot, they've got a question already that's on their mind and they're looking for you to answer that question. You can get into a back and forth where it's essentially them asking a series of questions, you just answering a series of questions. This is a bad place to be. You want to qualify them at the same time, and you want to add value to their search. Again, this is your chance to make a first impression. So one of the best ways to do that is to show how you can give value to the customer as you do. So asking questions and not just answering questions, very, very important in the process of capturing lead information because it builds credibility for you as a sales professional. So an example of that would be customer asks, do you have XYZ refrigerator in stock? You can answer the question and ask a question in the same response to them by saying, yes, we actually do have that refrigerator in stock. Did you have a refrigerator that failed on you? Or something to that effect. So try to get some information out of the customer so that you can start to develop a little more of a relationship rather than just being a vending machine for information. The last thing here is confirm that you've answered all of the customer's questions before we close the chat. So this is just a customer service point. You want to make sure that we are providing them with everything that they needed and that they got what they needed out of the chatting interaction. So those are some things to keep in mind while you're capturing lead information. Another tip here and something that's important to do. Point number 2 here was asking for an email and phone number up front just in case you lose connection. But that's not the last time you should ask for that information. If you fail to get it at that point and the customer declines and just moves forward, you can get that in a number of different ways. During the course of conversation, if you've asked enough questions, if they've asked you enough questions, there may be some answer that they're looking for, such as, to give you an example, I actually spoke to a customer about an ice maker. They were looking for a nugget ice maker, and they wanted to know if their old monogram door panel would fit on the new universal GE ice maker. So even if you knew the answer to that question, a good technique is to ask them for the information and tell them that you'll research it and get back to them later today or within a 30-minute time period. Now you have an excuse to call them back or email them back, and you have that contact information. So even if you have the answer to some questions, if you haven't received that contact information first, this can be a good time to use that as a tool to capture lead information so you can follow up. So here's just some tips for how you can get that lead information. Obviously, this is not all there is. There's many more. Feel free to experiment. But again, remember the goal is to capture their information. All right. Now, as far as making an amazing first impression. So you have to picture yourself chatting on a website with somebody and shopping for something. You want to picture yourself as the person on the other end and really just try to be somebody that you would like to talk to, which means that you're going to have to do a few things. So first and foremost, this goes back to that other point about not being a vending machine for information. Share your opinions on products. If they mention a product or they're interested in one that you happen to like a lot, tell them that you like it and tell them why it's great. again, you can share this stuff real quickly in a response back to them while you look for information. So it just kind of builds the relationship with the customer and shows that you're more than just a robot. So try to do that whenever possible. Just share your opinion on a product, and that can help deepen that relationship. The other thing is you can make suggestions. So if a customer comes in looking for item number A, you might suggest item B and C, because questions you've asked have led you down the road to, hey, have you considered doing this? And that's an important thing too, because it gets them thinking in a different way, and again, shows your credibility as a sales professional and that you know something that they might not know. So this gives them more reason to give up their lead information and want to stay in touch with you. And then the third thing here is to share something personal. And before you got carried away, no, I'm not talking about anything like that. I thought of you here, Kirk, but please keep it professional. I want to share something personal, meaning opinions on the products is something personal. Maybe it's a product that you have experience with in the past, something that you like, or anything else. Maybe it's something about the weather here in California. People are chatting from all different places. Some of them might be local. Some of them might be a different part of the country. Just try to make the conversation a little bit more exciting than just a back and forth about products. Again, the more they see you as a person, sales professional, better your chances of closing this deal are. Another thing is to try to get them to talk about themselves a little. Ask them some questions to kind of move that conversation forward. And again, you're going to have to kind of feel this out. This is a conversation back and forth, so there's not like a perfect way that you can introduce this, but again, you just want to try to make this a better conversation than just a back and forth product. The last thing is make them like you. This is a sales interaction just like it is in your store. And in the same way that you're trying to win a customer over and build rapport with them, you have to do the same thing on this chat. Now, the more difficult thing about a chat is the customer has the ultimate option of just disappearing on you at any point during the chat. You can just click close chat, they're done. So you really have a limited amount of time and a short window to make an impression on them and to make them want to talk to you. So try some of these things and try some of your own things. Just work on this. You'll get better at it over time. But ultimately, the goals are you want to build a relationship with the customer and you have a very limited time to do. All right, so just a quick recap of the live chat. Number one, remember, you got to get that lead info. That's what it's all about. Number two, be somebody that you yourself would like to talk to and somebody that's interesting to talk to. Three, every chat is an opportunity, so please don't waste these. Again, these are customers you would not have probably had an opportunity to talk to otherwise, so treat everyone like the opportunity. And last, have fun with these. These are additional ways you can contact customers and create leads, and use your sales knowledge, use your personality, use your experience here to win this customer over. These can be awesome leads. We've seen them already come across from some great products and make some sales out of it. So please just take the opportunity to do that. Have fun with this and give me any feedback. I've told the managers this, but I might as well tell you guys this too. This is a very, very new program and we're learning with it constantly. So if any of the salespeople that are using this have feedback or a suggestion, I can make some changes to this, not everything, but if there's something that you would like to see or you have a question about, let me know. There may be something that I can do to affect. All right. Well, that's it, guys. Short video. Just thought I'd give you some tips and pointers on what we can do with these chats. And thanks for watching. See you next time.